good to be out in these temps. Got those perfect springtime. It's I think it's gonna be about 85 today. It's gonna be warm, but right now it's beautiful. Guess what today is? Today is May 7th. May 7th, a little video. What is May 7th? May 7th, New Diverge Day. How freaking sick. My guess is you found this video. You've already seen some pics. You wanna know more about it. So we're gonna get to that in a second. And welcome to a long overdue new bike review. Tech Talk Tuesday. This was originally intended to be a new bike launch day video. Didn't get the chance to get that video up, so we scratched that. We're starting over. I'm starting over, and we're gonna film sort of a rundown on my bike and how it's set up, and little things that I'm working on, and a little bit of the story behind this bike with me, my thoughts, and all of that. I'm gonna try to keep it kind of sweet, to the point. Talk about some things that I like. I'm gonna talk about some things that I'm still sort of figuring out, but I know I'll eventually get to and like. A couple of the quick highlights. At this point, the bike's been out for a few weeks, and I'm sure you've read about all the tech, you've read about all the new things that are on it, features about it, what it can do, what it's capable of, all of that, everything. Just kind of my Diverge video. This title will be my Diverge video. That's what I'm gonna talk about. So if you are unfamiliar with what I'm standing here with, this is the new 2021 Specialized Diverge. I have it in the Pro colorway. So a brief back history on this bike. All right, so back in February, got to ride the bike for the first time. It had been under wraps for a long while. It was still under wraps, but we got out, we snuck out, and we were able to ride the bike early on. Immediately we're hanging out, we're looking at the new bikes, we're kind of getting started, trying to figure out what we want to do. I knew where we were gonna ride, and I was like, all right, cool, tell me what it's all about. And they're like, we're not gonna tell you anything. We want you to go and ride the bike. I was like, okay, sure, no problem. He's like, let's go ride, let's get the experience, because if I tell you a bunch of stuff, you're gonna form an opinion about this bike, and it's gonna change what is actually true. Cool, fair enough. So we went out and rode, got like 2 hours in. First impression, right off the bat, I'm out riding, is it just wants to go. When you get on the gas, it's a little less not floppy, but it's a little less just sort of like glued to the ground. It's a little lighter, it spins up a little faster, it wants to get going. Second thought is it steers a lot faster than it did before. The way that the bike responds is almost much more like my cross bike. It's still a little lower, it's still a bit more stable feeling, a little bit more planted when you got those high speed turns. It's quick, it's light, it's nimble, but the two biggest things I noticed were really the way that it's steered, the way that it handled, and its acceleration. Those two were, by and large, sensation-wise, blew me away. Now, there's little techs that are better, right? We've got bigger tire clearance, we've got more capability, we've got the SWAT, all of that. Future Shock 2.0. Those are all things that make this bike better than the last one, but I think ride experience on this bike is the standout item. So, if you've read all the numbers, if you've done all the math, how does what those numbers say on a piece of paper translate to what actually happens on the bike? Because now I know what Specialized was talking about when they said, hey, we don't want to tell you anything. Because if we told you that the bike's wheelbase got longer, we told you that the bike got more slack, you'd be like, wow, okay, it probably rides like a mountain bike. Probably rides like a, you're becoming more and more into the mountain bike realm, but yet it's not. So it's kind of a trip. So that's why they were really adamant about riding it first. Yes, it steers faster. Yes, it handles better. No, it is not what the numbers are all about, but numbers do mean a lot. Coming to my point about my front end setup. So right now, all the bikes are coming with a sized shorter stem than what they traditionally would come with for each respective size. I currently have a 100mm stem on this bike. I usually ride a 120 on this. This is one part of the bike that I'm not super satisfied with yet. I'm still kind of working on getting my fit dialed in a little bit more. I think I want to go a little longer, maybe to a 110, but I think the number one thing for me is I got to go back to a -17 stem. I currently have trigger 35, trigger 38. It's the old trigger. This tire is no longer getting produced, but I have a couple pairs left. But this kind of measures up at like a 36 on the Zip 303. So I've got massive amounts of clearance up here with this. If you haven't read the numbers on that, 700 by 47 is the max tire size, and 650 by 2.2. So a full-blown mountain bike tire if you wanted to. in that category. I'm not sure. I'm really a 700C guy. I think the 650 thing is kind of novelty. I don't think it has a fantastic usage. This is faster, better traction. I think rides better. And 700 by 47 is a huge tire. That's like a 1.8, 1.9. So that's a huge tire. That's gonna roll faster in a straight line, roll over things easier. It's the way to go. For me, I'm running this with a mullet setup. So I've got a 44 chainring on here right now with a 1050. I'm hoping to get a 46 on this. I just don't quite have one right in front of me. But soon I will up to a 46. I think a 4650 is a very capable combo. I think that ratio, that negative ratio at 4650 is perfect for lost and found, perfect for those big days where you're gonna just kind of be digging really deep, and at the end of the day you just want that one more gear. Or earlier in the day you can spin a little faster, you don't have to worry too much about blowing too many matches early on. I'm running a 160 rotor, front and rear. That's a quick talking point that I should let you know. This has been some confusion. I've had a couple people email me asking me about this already. So check this out. The bike is designed to be run 160, 160, but the native fork mount up front, this is gonna get confusing. And the native fork mount is for a 160 and 180 flat mount, not a 160, 140, okay? So the posts are actually machined higher on the fork. So if you're running it with a 160 front rotor like I am, you're using it in the 140 flat mount flip position, okay? I think it'll be fun. I actually probably will toy around with it in the 180 front rotor, but the 180 position needs to be run in the 160 flat mount adapter position. So the part that attaches to the caliper, a little confusing, okay? Just keep note of that. Don't read what the adapter says, read what the bike is calling for. So 160, run it with the 140 piece, 180, run it with the 160 piece. That's pretty sick. Big rotor up front. We're doing bigger descents. This bike's capable of that. So 160, 160, out back, it's traditional flat mount. So 140 is direct to the frame, 160 requires a little offset unit. Take note of that. I do want to get it out with like a 700 by 47 and a big 180 rotor and just see what it rides like. I don't think it's quite gonna be for me. I like it to be a little bit faster. So I think that 38 is the sweet spot for me with the tire size, but the capability's there, so it's pretty sick. It's got more bottle capabilities. If you want, you can run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles, technically 6 bottles if you wanted to run this. There's a special bag that's getting mounted up here, and then the capability down here. You want to go all day, this is the bike for you. I'm not an all-day rider, but I like to go fast, so this bike goes fast too. That's my setup. That's a bit of my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Get you some more info on this. You got questions, hit me up below. I can definitely answer some of those little finite nuance questions. I think a little bit better than the internet and forums and all that can. There's a lot of questions. It's a new bike. It kind of pushes the boundaries a little bit with you know, the flat mount setups and what the bike's all about, SWAT, that kind of stuff. Let me know. Thanks for always staying tuned. This is my Diverge. I hope you get one. It's a great bike. I love it. I still ride my rear bay a lot, but it's been with no racing, I tend to be grabbing this a lot more right now. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. That way you know when the videos come up. And if you're a regular viewer but you're still not subscribed, hit it. That way you know when I get one of these videos up every few months or a few weeks or a few days. You never know. Thanks guys, that's a wrap. Over and out. Peace.